Hello, this is part 2 of our new member class video series. What we wanted to do in the second video is to let you know what it is that we value here at Lebanon Baptist Church. We have a series of value systems that we have adopted and agreed upon as a church, and so I want to go into not a whole lot of depth, but just kind of walk through those with you. What do we do that holds this church together? What is important to us? And so that's really where these value statements come from. We wanted to make sure that if someone looked into our church and began to learn about us, that they knew what we thought was important. So what are our value statements? First of all, we value family and help strengthen individuals, our church, and our community. We believe that the core unit on which the Bible is based is the family. Now, that can be an individual person as a family, but it also can include a mother and father. It doesn't exclude broken families. Certainly there are a lot of those in our community at this time, and just culturally there's a lot of that. But there is this concept of family that we want people to be close together, to be a support system. The church can't always be there for people, and so it's great when families can help each other. And so we want to help people build their family relationships. We do that because we feel the best way to build a family is to first build the individuals. If we build the individuals first, then they can help to grow their families. And as we grow as individuals, as we grow as families, it's also going to help us with our church. We will strengthen our church as we grow as individuals and help our church family. And so we can grow and become what God has created it to be. And then finally, we believe as a church that it's critical that we reach out to our community and that people will be drawn to God by how they see us love each other and by how we see us love them. And so being a community is very important. It's part of the family concept that we want to adopt and make sure that we help people grow with. So the first value we have is that we value family and help strengthen individuals, our church, and our community. The second value is we value encouragement and help individuals draw closer to God when in need of hope. One of the strengths of our church for a long time has been that we rally around people that are going through difficult times. And we want to make sure, because all of us are going to have trouble, we want to make sure that we help people. That may be a financial need, it may be a relational need, it may be a work need, whatever it may be. We want to see what we can do as a church to help you with whatever struggle you can have and make sure that we encourage you. God has promised to leave us His peace, and certainly we rely on that directly, but also as believers, we want to make sure that we encourage others. God can use us to help build each other up, and so we value encouragement and help individuals draw closer to God when in need of hope. We value generosity and help individuals live a life focused on serving God. One of the great strengths of our church is we do have a very generous church. We are in a strong place financially. We've about paid for our Family Life Center that we call the ROCK, stands for Reaching Others for Christ's Kingdom. And so we really value that we should be generous. Now, not just because we want to be able to pay for things and do things. Scripture tells us that we should be generous. Paul writes about that. And so we want to make sure that as good disciples that we have a generous spirit. We also want you to know that it goes beyond money. We want to have a generous spirit when it comes to our time. We want to have a generous spirit when it comes to how we treat others. We want to have a generous spirit in how we reach out when there's natural disasters. We've had several hurricanes come through here in the past few years. We want to be in a position to help people when there's difficulty, and you do that through generosity and being willing to give not just of our money, but of our time and of our energy. We value worship and help individuals glorify God in public and in private. Again, one of the great centers of any church is that we worship together. We mentioned that in the first video. We want to make sure that worship always has a prominent part. It is one of what should be our calling card, and we hope is always one of our calling cards here at this church. But we also understand that in addition to worship corporately and worshiping together, that if we want that to be effective, we also have to worship individually. And so we want to help people to learn how to do that. How is it that I can read the Bible? How can I study it better? How can I get something out of the Bible when I read it? How do I pray? And we want to help people to be able to do those things. So we want to glorify God in public, but we also want to make sure that we are spending time in glorifying God in private, because the better that we do glorifying God in private during the week will make our public worship services even greater on the weekend for ourselves and for those around us. Number 5, we value fellowship and help individuals foster biblical relationships. We value fellowship and help individuals foster biblical relationships. There's a difference between being buddies with somebody and having a biblical relationship. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we help each other deal with things that are more private in nature when we need someone to talk to. We hope that you can find someone within our church body that you grow in a strong relationship with. And so we're going to encourage that through our Sunday school classes and our Bible study classes. We're going to encourage you to join together with other individuals and celebrate time together. Be there when times are great. Be there when times are normal, but especially when times are difficult. Those biblical relationships can really come in handy. And with us having the same worldview of God being first, it'll help us deal with the situations, both good and bad, that we come across in life. Finally, our 6th value is we value prayer and help individuals grow in their intimacy with God. We value prayer and help individuals grow in their intimacy with God. Again, everything that we do must be grounded in prayer. Jerry Falwell once said, every failure is prayer failure. And there's a lot of truth to that. So though we list prayer last, do not think that that's something that we don't treat heavily. In fact, I think you could argue that we save the best for last, or the most important part, because it is what's going to gird everything else. If I'm not spending time praying to God as an individual, I can never be what God created me to be, even with the help of other people. If I'm not spending time in prayer, it's going to be difficult for me to see God work in my life. If I'm not spending time in prayer and understand how to pray, it's going to be difficult for me to experience all that this life has to hold. And so what we want to do through our sermons, through our Bible study, through our fellowship, through everything we do with this church, is to help you grow in your intimacy with God. Because the closer we are with God, the greater His peace will be, the greater His strength will be. And as we do that as individuals, what we'll find as we go through these value statements, particularly the one on prayer, that we'll see that it not only will make all of our individuals better, our families better, our community stronger, but it'll make this church a place where people are drawn because they want to see God at work. God promises us that when He is high and lifted up, that people will be drawn to Him. And so those are the values that we hold high here at Lebanon Baptist Church.